Hey, yeah, I'm talking to you. Psst. Come here, I got something to tell you. Come here. I think I've solved the melee. I don't want to say for sure, but I think melee's good to go, baby. Armor Break Warbringer version 2.0 coming in hot. Now, this is going to work with the new skill called Forgehammer, which looks like this. You throw it out, it hits the ground with a slam, and then does some damage. This will be your general clear. You just throw the hammer, let it hit the enemies, recall it for an instant cooldown recovery. Do this over and over. But you also have the option, as you can see, to Warcry near the hammer. It explodes, detonates it, and then spawns a bunch of fissures. These fissures are very important because when you use any other slam while you're on top of fissures, it will proc them again as an aftershock, dealing the same exact skill damage. So, Forgehammer does 337% damage at level 9. Oh my gosh, this is only at level 9? No. This skill is only level 9 out of 20, and it's already dealing 337% damage. Let me tell you why this is important. So, it spawns a bunch of fissures. Every time you slam it near a fissure or on top of a fissure, it will proc it and create an aftershock, dealing the same amount of damage of the skill, which at level 9 is 337%. So, we're going to get a lot of aftershocks to trigger because we have to slam near it. How are we going to slam that much times? So, you can slam once every 0.2 seconds. You can trigger an aftershock. How are you going to do 5 slams? Another new skill. Ancestral Cry. Ancestral Cry right here requires 100 glory to use. Now, other skills that require glory require to heavy stun enemies. This one is going to simply require you to ignite them. So you build up 100 glory, and it doesn't mean 1 ignite equals 1 glory. I think it's based on the power of the enemy. Unique enemies have 20 power. So I think you need 5 ignites on a unique enemy to proc this. Regardless, when you do proc this cry, you embody Comb, and your footsteps will trigger volcanic steps, which is a slam. That's right. So you just walk around. You just walk around all over the place. I don't know about you, but you take roughly 5 steps per second. I think you take more steps the more movement speed you have. So just get a little bit of movement speed on your boots, and what can I say? You're probably walking maybe 5 times per second, 4, maybe 5, who knows? And that's basically the entire build. You toss your Forgehammer down, you pop the Ancestral Cry, and you walk in circles. But of course, there are a lot more layers to it. I've been thinking hard about what we're going to do. So number 1, obviously we're going to use Volcanic Fissure, the skill itself, on top of that. So it deals 145% damage. It also puts out a bunch of fissures. It's important to note that the fissures are tied to the individual skills that they come from. So regardless of how many fissures you spawn with Forgehammer, you're only ever going to do damage with 1 of them per shockwave. And the same thing with Volcanic Fissure. And now it's spawning 3 fissures instead of just 1. They buffed the skill this patch, but you can't hit an enemy with more than 1 fissure simultaneously. However, these fissures are separate from the ones from Forgehammer. So we're essentially going to be dealing 337. It's actually way higher than this again, which is kind of crazy. I literally just noticed this while recording the video. Let's just say 337% plus 145%. That's almost 500% damage, right? Every single time that you take a footstep with Ancestral Cry, you're dealing 500% damage. And that's not even including your extra aftershock chance. And I know what you're thinking. Well, streamer, you have to be igniting stuff constantly to trigger Ancestral Cry to then trigger the footsteps to trigger the shockwaves to actually deal damage. How are you going to do that? They changed Ignite, guys. Multiple hits can stack flammability independently, which is now how you apply Ignite. It's not just a percent chance to ignite. It's based on the flammability magnitude, meaning that a target that is hit frequently or a target that is hit hard enough will be consistently at 100% chance to be ignited. We'll have to see what it's like in game, but I'm thinking it's going to be okay. Worst case scenario, moving over to PoB here for a second, we'll have to use something like Rolling Slam, which will also proc our aftershocks because it itself is a slam, but then we'll use that to actually ignite targets to build up Ancestral Cry to proc again to actually walk around in circles. So Rolling Slam, hypothetically, would only be used in the downtime of Ancestral Cry. You probably don't need it for any other purposes, aside from maybe like Rage Generation. I haven't really figured out exactly what I'm doing with skills in the skill tree. But another question that you may have is, why are you playing the Warbringer? Why does the Warbringer matter? Why are you doing Armor Break V2? What the heck does that even mean? So if you don't know, the Warbringer has this node right here. Break armor equal to 10% of the hit damage you deal. This is all damage, not just physical damage. All damage you deal, 10% of it is applying to the enemy's armor at a flat value. So that is important because of the Armor Explosion support gem. When this triggers, it does 100% of the hit again, just like an aftershock. So you essentially get another aftershock every time that Armor Explosion triggers. And again, if you haven't played Armor Break before, you're breaking enemy armor all the time. Like, all the time. I can't even describe to you how easy it is to break enemy armor. Now, I don't know exactly what the uptime is going to be on a single target, how frequently you can break armor, trigger armor explosion, break armor again, trigger armor explosion again. That is obviously heavily gating how useful this is. But for clear speed, for example, I know that you will be fully breaking enemy armor on every single hit with Forgehammer, period. You just throw it into a pack, everybody's going to explode with armor explosion. However, if this does not apply to single targets very well, I will probably remove it and replace it with something else. But that's not the only reason why we're running the Warbringer. No. We're doing, of course, Renly's Training and Turtle Charm. So long story short, with block, what they are doing is they are basically taking the existing Turtle Charm aspect, which as you can block damage from all hits, that is now just how block works, period. It no longer applies to Turtle Charm. It's how everybody's block chance works. However, the maximum block chance has been lowered to 50% from 75%. That's a massive nerf, obviously. Turtle Charm is now going to grant you maximum block chance is 75%. So you're back to the old value on the Warbringer. Why is this important? Of course, because of the Svalin. Yeah, everybody loves the Svalin. Favorite shield ever. Woohoo! That says block chance is lucky. Now, this item also normally has a downside, which says -2 maximum block chance. However, with the Warbringer, this does not matter. Because if you did not know in Path of Exile, effects that are listed definitively, as in your block chance is this amount, will never change unless it says never, right? If you say you can never block, that will always apply over something that says like your block chance is blah, blah, blah. You're always block. Never, always trumps always, but always trumps everything else. So what I'm trying to say is that Svalin has no downside whatsoever. You literally just get lucky block chance. This turns 75% block chance into 94% effective block chance because you have to roll the chance to not block twice successfully. So you have a 94% chance to block with the Warbringer using a Svalin, and then Turtle Charm is also going to have this downside replaced. The 25% less block chance will actually turn into you take 30% damage of blocked hits. So what that means as a whole is that 94% of the time you are taking 70% less damage on the Warbringer against all hits. Damage over times, and then the red, blink of special abilities of enemies. Those are still going to hit you for full damage, but for everything else, there's a 94% chance you're taking 70% less damage. That is quite a lot. And then finally here with Jade Heritage, this just gives you 10% physical damage reduction. They changed this in the patch as well. You used to lose a stack every time you took hit. Now you don't lose stacks anymore. You can still consume them to the Encase and Jade skill, but that skill sucks. You just want the 1% DR per stack. And yeah, here's what a basic outline of the skill tree is going to be. It's only level 74, so we have plenty of points to spend. They are adding 15 new clusters in this region, and then another 25, I think it was, over here. So there's going to be plenty of things to do, plenty of things to look for with the new passives. I will obviously heavily modify this as things go on. It's important to note with this current tree, however, that we are taking like as much area of effect as possible. Area of effect, area of effect, area of effect, area of effect, area of effect. Hopefully that's enough to make it feel buttery smooth. And of course, if you see the pathing down here, we have the option to go Giant's Blood. I don't know if it's going to be necessary given the rate at which we're going to be damaging enemies. We might have plenty of damage with the one-hander, so we can totally forego the downside of Giant's Blood, which if you did not know, yeah, they nerfed Giant's Blood. It now says you get half as much life from strength. The Giant's Blood node. You know, the node that makes you a giant? A guy that's like really big and strong and would benefit from having a lot of strength. Yeah, you actually get punished for that on the next update. Anyway, that's another tangent. Jonathan. I'm actually pretty dang excited to try this build out to see if it actually performs well. I think at the very least it's going to be okay with clear speed. You just throw your Forgehammer out. Wee. Armor explosions will blow everything up. But for single target, it has the potential to be very, very strong. Anyway, other than that, check out my stream at twitch.tv/WoolieGaming. Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.